Welcome to Beans and Breakdowns, a podcast dedicated to bridging the gap between specialty coffee and the heavy music community. On this episode, I'm joined by Blair Hammond of Dark Arts Coffee, based in London. So grab a fresh cup of coffee and wake the fuck up! What's going on, Caffeinated crew? Today, I'm joined by Blair. He's in London. But he doesn't sound like London.
No.
Because he's from Hamilton. But we'll get into that.
Ooh.
No, you're not from Hamilton.
No.
Oh.
Mississauga.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Look, we'll get into don't apologize, buddy. We'll get into it. A lot of the boys are in Hamilton now. A lot of the Mississauga boys are in Hamilton now, but I'm originally from Meadowvale, Mississauga, and I'm in the not to throw shade on it, but I'm in the better London than the London some folks on that part of the world might know. Good old London, England, not London, Ontario.
Oh yeah,
shout out London, Ontario.
That's a good distinguisher. It hadn't even crossed my mind. Because
look, and I don't think I'm at a place in saying that. I think like people from London, Ontario would argue that London, Ontario is the lesser of the two Londons. I don't think we're going on a whim by saying that. I apologize. I sincerely apologize to any of the folks who might feel hard done by that. Oops.
All that to say, you are now living in London, England, and work for Dark Arts Coffee. That's the whole reason for that story.
Yeah, that is the longest, most unnecessary bullshit intro into, hi, I'm Blair Hammond, and I work for Dark Arts Coffee in London, England.
Welcome.
But there you have it. Thanks for having me, buddy. Yeah. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I really have been looking forward to it.
I was taken aback by the amount of people that we kind of know in common. Me being from Georgia, you not living in Canada for some time.
Yeah.
So the crossover has been quite astounding.
It's the power of the scene, brother.
The scene, protect the scene.
I'm just stoked to do something like this. Like, this is kind of fun. Like it's all worlds colliding.
Mm-hmm.
Like usually anytime people are interested in dark arts and in like an interview fashion, it's like, tell us your top 5 drinks for summer. And it's like, it's only so many fucking coffee combinations that you could bullshit before it's just beating the fuck out of a dead horse.
Yeah. And there's already a right answer for that. It's espresso tonic. That's the right answer always. And you don't need another.
All right. Fuck it. I drink it hot all year round. I like to dabble in. I like to dabble in the iced coffees. I think here, obviously, like you kind of get a little bit of everything. Don't see a lot of the tonics. You don't see a lot of the espresso tonics in the city. You see just classic like iced Americanos. They're big on their Americanos here. Iced Americanos, iced flat whites.
Iced flat whites.
It's so an iced flat white, an iced cappuccino, an iced latte is the dumbest shit in the world. But they'll ask for it individually. But yeah, it's just milk, espresso, and ice.
But they're stingy about the ice. What is that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if that's actually like. Did you get that from the Hard Lore?
No, I got that
podcast?
From real life.
Oh shit. Here at Dark Arts, we pride ourselves on using so much ice. Like it's kind of a flex, I guess. Like we can afford an ice machine, so like it's just like have you want more. We usually give them their drink full of ice and then like an extra cup of ice just to fucking flaunt the fact that we've got more ice than we can handle.
We're better than you. Look at how much ice we have. We're iced out.
Yeah, fuck you. We got ice.
What are you drinking?
Well, first off, what am I drinking out of? for the viewers who cannot see the fucking absolute masterpiece that I'm drinking.
That's it.
Go ahead and read that to the folks.
Okay, so it is a Tim Hortons mug, but it's one I've never seen before.
Yeah, so it's for those listeners worldwide who've been asking, the first Tim Hortons location is in 65 Ottawa Street, North Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Shout out to Jordan from Gavel. That's my long time boy. I'm sure we'll get into that. But every time I go back home, I stay with him until recently because he's had a little baby.
Yeah, a little baby.
So I definitely won't be. Well, that baby's probably got my room that I stay in. So, you got to pull rank, I guess, Jordan. So baby gets my room. I sleep somewhere else. But whenever I'm home, I always stay with the McGoverns. And he's not too far from the OG Tim Hortons. And I didn't know the OG Tim Hortons was in Hamilton. So we went there, and this is my prize mug. This is my every morning mug. Inside the mug at the moment, I'm drinking, shameless self-promotion, but unfortunately it's the only coffee that I ever have in my cupboard is Dark Arts. We're drinking Mother Tongue, which is a honey processed Colombian from Nariño. And it's fucking tropical. It's a little zesty. It's nice and sweet. This one's cold now, but I like it cold.
It's better that way.
You get all the acidity and the sweetness come through all the fruitier notes.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. What are you drinking, brother man?
I'm flexing this morning because.
Oh, is that okay? I already see it. Go ahead.
You see it? So I just returned from a 2-week trek, if you will, around Europe. Mm-hmm. Well, tried Dark Arts for the first time, which we'll talk about. I got to go to Amsterdam. Amsterdam was a 50-50 kind of bust, but also good trip, which I feel like is everybody's experience. I went to the Fuku Cafe, which is Friedhats flagship, and I got their El Salvador. Had to get a coffee from Friedhats. This is very good. I've been drinking this a little bit this week.
Tasting notes, very good.
Yeah. It's raisiny because it's obviously it's the El Salvador. It is it's a natural though. Actually, it's a 120 hour anaerobic natural.
All right.
Is it pretentious enough or?
But I think coffee is it's like a snake eating its tail of pretentiousness. Like it's just so out of line in a good way, but also it's become this whole just thing that fucking everything exists now. You've got gone are the days of washed and natural. You saw your honey processes come in, which it's fine. I'm all for it. And then this whole wave of everyone being fermentation mad has obviously made its way into the coffee world. Every asshole is making sourdough. Okay, you know what? I'm going to stop myself there. I don't mean asshole as in rude thing. I'm just getting excited. Every person was making sourdough and kombucha in their own home and stuff like that. And you saw this whole fermentation kick just weave itself into just everyone's dialogue. And I'm saying just from the consumer side. So naturally that you find it made its way into, wine, obviously the conversations around natural wine and heavily fermented and stuff like that. Like I said, sourdough and people having a basic understanding of kombucha now being on the shelf everywhere you go. And then coffee, right? You're bringing anaerobic fermentation into coffee as a process. And it's a selling point. First and foremost, I think obviously it results in some pretty interesting flavors, but I think ultimately it's a selling point. I think big bold claim here, but all coffee kind of goes through anaerobic fermentation, even if it's washed. It's kind of this, yes, you can focus on it and draw it out, like you said with this one, where it's a multi-hour ferment, but I think this is a word of caution. This is the professional coffee guy Blair talking. It's almost like a word of caution to consumers of like what we're demanding, because ultimately this doesn't necessarily just fall on the roasters or like the dark arts of the world. It falls on the farmers. The understanding of fermentation is a science, as a very extensive science, and I think to start pushing this on farmers to do these crazy ferments and these wild long processes, if they don't work, man, it's not the end consumer's like responsibility to drink it, right? If it doesn't work, that farmer's taking a chance on something that the consumer asked of the coffee company asked of the importer or the farmer, and it's this trickle chain. And then you find some of these farmers with some batches that just don't turn out, and everyone's just like, I ain't gonna touch that. That just tastes like too wild. Mm-hmm. And it's this whole like expectation. Like it's a science. It's a crazy science, and there's some farmers that invest a serious depth and like amount of time and effort and money into the exact science so that it does result. But then there's some other farms that are just taking some chances on the request, and it's, sadly doesn't always turn out. So
right.
It's one of those double-edged, like it's fun to experiment. It's fun to see where you can push it. But that's also, it's a fine line to make sure that we're not like asking too much too quick and, just like a fast trend. I don't think it's a fast trend, but yeah,
right.
Those are my 2 cents.
I appreciate the sense.
Yeah. But yeah, tell me more about this coffee. Friedhats is the one. Like
tastes like Skittles and shit.
Gosh. Friedhats was one of the first, like, I've got a bottle sitting like on our shelf above our bed, because like before I was in coffee, I just remember trying it and I'm like, this is something special. Friedhats, I think, was one of the first that I tasted. I'm like, oh, this can be like you're saying, like Skittles and shit. This could be like some fucking far out zany flavors, but like not be like a kick in the mouth. Like it could be something you can like sit with and like really, 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 really like focus and enjoy, not just like this is coffee. So right. Yeah, shout out to Friedhats for the mind expanding. That's just good packaging.
It's so good. Like it's I'll keep it forever, I think.
Hell yeah, brother.
Fucking sick.
Go to Costco, get a bunch of omega-3 fish oil and transfer it to that bottle.
My liter bottle of coffee.
And you really want to be a prick, walk around with it and say, "Ooh, what time is it? I go take my fish oil," and then it's in a Friedhats bottle, just to hit the point across that you drink really good coffee on a regular basis. Now that's pretentious.
There's like maybe 5 people in Montreal that would understand the Friedhats thing.
We got to start somewhere.
It's true. If it's not a traditional, it's not a traditional espresso with a croissant, I'm throwing shade. That's not deserved.
Can we say on that, just quick note, it's so funny to me that like I've never said croissant in my life. I've only ever said croissant because I'm from Ontario and
right.
We bastardize it. Croissant. But over here in England, like in an English accent, they'll say croissant. And it's so fucking funny to me because they bastardize so many things, but then choose croissant to be like, no, mate, it's croissant. You're like, all right, pal. It's funny. I just think it's funny.
Relax. Croissant.
Croissant.
Like the TikTok audio. Croissant.
Clutch. I can't hear croissant without that audio clip going off in my head.
Yeah, I mean, I can't take myself seriously ordering one now.
No, we're meme lords.
It's true.
We're fucking, and I guarantee the person on the other side of the counter is in their head being like, "Oh, okay, cool. 1 espresso, 1 croissant," and they're fucking playing in their head as well. Everyone's meme lords, man.
Everyone's sucked in.
Mhm.
How do you brew?
Right. Uh, at home, it's strictly V60. Um, it's just, yeah, I've never really humored the idea of having like the home espresso machine, stuff like that. Like as a coffee professional, part of my job is like selling coffee equipment as well. There's no substitute. There's like cafe quality machines and then everything else. So I'm not going to try and replicate that at home. I think for the however many years, I've always just made a big old, in the morning, a big old 60-gram batch, which yields 600 milliliters of coffee. 60-gram batch for me and the wife. I'll do it in the morning, put her half in the thermos, and have mine. And that's how I start the day. Yeah, V60 all the way, buddy. V60 all the way.
I'm on V60 train always for like years.
Tried the AeroPress. Got all focused on the AeroPress, and I think I was just shit at it. Couldn't be bothered to take the time to like make it something special. So I just default to the old V60. If we really want to get geeky, what's his name? The guy who does the like 5 pours. I am gonna have to
James Hoffman.
pull up. Oh yeah, the Hoff. Oh, everything about coffee is the Hoff, the creator and founder of espresso.
I use his AeroPresso recipe.
He's the real man. He's the fucking.
All
he's
jokes
the god,
aside,
isn't he?
all Hames Joffman jokes aside, he is.
Who am I thinking?
The 5 pour. Oh, the Japanese guy there.
Mm-hmm. Tetsu Kasuya. I know nothing about champions. I've never really paid much focus to the whole competition side. It's just never been like an aspect of coffee that's kind of tickled my fancy. I like coffee from the, just the exploration side. I think I really have a nice, an interest in the farming aspect, on how you can take the same variety, grow it in 5 different countries around the world at like different microclimates and get something totally different. So, all respect to anyone who can compete on that level as like a world champion or anything like that.
Right.
Like you do your thing. That's I haven't really been focused. But to go back to it, Tetsu's whole like brewing method, where he does like, I've known it to be like the 5 pours. Like the first pour is for like the sweetness in the cup. Second pour is for acidity in the cup, and then the last 3 kind of control the body and like strength. So if you wanted to kind of like you would split the overall water across 5. So
Right.
For instance, when I'm doing 6 or 40 grams of coffee to 600 grams of water, that is our daily dose. I'd split that up and do 120 each pour. Or if I really wanted to focus on the sweetness, I'd do, 180 and then divvy up the rest. So it's kind of a fun way. Like you do a super fine or super coarse grind. So it pulls down a little bit quicker. So you're not really like, you don't really run the risk of over extracting.
Right.
Because it pulls down like pretty quickly. And it's one of those, it's like, it's transferable to however much coffee you have in the filter at that given time. So it's kind of fun. Like you could go down to like 20 gram pours for like a super personal size cup, or you can like go big, like we were doing for, 600 grams to 800 grams. But, that's been the method, and that's been the kind of, it's forced me to like enjoy the individual coffee and kind of like work a little bit with the coffee that I'm brewing. Like if we're brewing like just a straightforward pulp natural Brazil, like that's gonna be all about the sweetness and the body, right? So I'm gonna just kind of showcase that. Or if it's like some zany anaerobic Colombia or some like wacky kind of Kenyan or something like that, like, you know. So yeah, I think that's just a fun one. It also seems to just be like, it's pretty user friendly.
Yeah.
As long as you have the grind coarse enough, it's pretty user friendly. So yeah,
I've tried the 4.6 before. I'm not good at it. I'm bad at it.
We'll get there together. We'll set up some personal calls, just you and I. We don't, off the record, and I'll watch you pour.
But I do use the Dr. James method, his 5 pour.
Salute. Yeah.
Because it's just equal pours over 10-second intervals.
Tell you what, I know this is probably like common knowledge, but like James Hoffman's tall as fuck.
Is he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we did. I've only ever met him the one time, and it was just him coming by the roastery because Brad, the owner of Dark Arts, Brad Morrison, they did a video together because he unknowingly threw a bit of shade at us. So when he was reviewing the Brad Pitt DeLonghi video where he's like, oh, I was on his motorcycle. He's like, oh, real original motorcycle and coffee. Like basically in one fell swoop, like dismantled Dark Arts and like everything that we are. We obviously clipped it and had fun with it, and James saw the fun in that as well. Like he's a supportive guy. Like we're all in the kind of the same area in London. He's been super supportive and like kind of like helping us out and being able to like share just industry advice. So there's absolutely nothing but love for the Hoff, and he saw the fun in it and actually ended up doing a little video where he recreated the Brad Pitt commercial with our Brad, our in-house Brad, and they got him on the back of Brad's chopper, and it looked awkward because they're both really tall guys, but like James is like big time tall guy, and it was just awkward looking.
I didn't even realize that's who that was.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
That was our guy. So yeah, nothing but love for the Hoff. He's everyone's like entry. I think he's such he's the cigarette of the coffee world. He's everyone's like entry, gateway to just understanding it. Cause it is still, I think like there is a mystique around coffee still, and it's only getting, there's more knowledge for the consumer to like ingest. There's more, everyone's like, we got to talk more about the farm. We got to talk more about the variety, the process.
Yeah.
That like, it is still pretty, full on for the consumer. And I think like James's videos are super chill, and like it covers a lot of entry level topics and then kind of feeds you further. So James is the entry level gateway drug to specialty coffee. And I think,
he's the patient zero.
He is.
A lot of people. For me,
we salute you, James.
I got reintroduced. Not reintroduced, but I got reignited. I'll say that.
Reinvigorated. Yeah. Tell me your world. How does coffee kind of relate to you?
I was a barista right after college. It's technically third wave, I guess. It was like pre kind of third wave. So we were counterculture. And so from there, I started doing pour overs and tasting espresso, because before that I drank mochas, and we had Octane. I don't know if you know Octane.
Not sure, no.
It was an Atlanta-based roaster. They got bought out eventually by like Revelator, and I don't even think that they're. But like I started working in the cafe, didn't know a lot about coffee, but had drank like mochas and lattes without flavoring. But then when I finally tasted an Adito on espresso 2013, it was that one from that year that's like everybody flipped the fuck out about. It tasted like strawberries and like cream.
See, that would be fucking melting people's brain back then.
Yeah.
That is like, even now, that would be something special. But I think back then, and we say it back then like it's fucking ages ago, but like where things have come in the last 5-6 years, that would have fucking melted people's brain.
It melted
and
my
like
brain, but in like the good way.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. In the whole, just like, oh shit, this doesn't just need to taste like ash or nuts and chocolate. Like, I'm a big fan of managing people's expectation in coffee. You tell them it's going to taste like something and it actually does, you win. Like, you got them. And it's like, we just released this coffee not too long ago called the Cosmic Key. And it's, it tastes like grape, and it's the most obvious flavor. Like, it is very grapey. If you don't like grape, you're going to fucking hate it. And there's no shame in saying that. But we released this coffee, and people just kind of like flipped the fuck out with it. Like, it was another one of those that, like, if we released this in like the mid 2000s to folks, like, we would have been fucking like burned like witches, because it would have just been too much. Like, people's brains weren't ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, now it's totally cool. Like, now people are like, yeah, like, give me your weird shit. Cause like, I know what to expect. Mm-hmm. Coffee's kind of opened up, and there's a lot more narrative on what a coffee can taste like instead of what a coffee should taste like. It was a Colombian coffee, by the way, that we had. And it's grape. Like, my wife hates grape. She says it tastes like the dentist, and you can't blame her. But when you tell someone who likes grapes that this coffee tastes like hot grapes, they're it's fun. It's kind of, manage people's expectations and achieve those expectations. And you got something special.
I had one recently that was like pineapple juice.
Mm-hmm.
It was a double anaerobic Colombian. My friend roasted.
Who's your friend? Who's your buddy?
His name is Balance. Balance roasters.
Okay.
It's good.
I'm also like Balance.
I might have to send you. I don't know if he's going to do it again.
Okay. I've also got the old tab open, just trying to absorb this. Do market research. Call it market research. But I think this is also like, so this is to kind of like, so pushing kind of coffees in wild directions and stuff like that. Like, there's the whole thing in the industry, if like super fermented coffee just tastes like papaya. Oh, and yeah. It just takes it to a point that's what it tastes like. And obviously that's like heavily fermented coffee. And there's like a range of kind of fermentations involvement in the flavor. And I know, like, just speaking with a farmer that, I've got a good relationship with, Felipe Croce in Brazil. Like, sometimes farmers get a little like kind of nervous about that, because they obviously want the coffee to be a celebration of where they are, right? Like, you want to, it's that whole, how important is terroir in coffee? How important is it that you can taste like Brazil or Colombia or whatever, and then without getting to a point where it's just kind of like, oh, this just tastes like heavily fermented coffee, whether it's from Ethiopia or Rwanda or, Colombia, Peru, whatever. So just to kind of harp back to our earlier point, like, who's it for at the end of the day? I guess. I don't know.
It's the danger of any niche kind of thing, where it's buzzwords. Buzzwords kind of kill the the true meaning of where you're at, I guess. Like, it's like, oh, anaerobic, buzzword, fucking ferment, buzzword. Like,
yeah,
is it necessary at the end of the day?
Yes and no. It's just dependent on, like, if you use it like a crutch solely for, advertising purposes, and then at the end of the day, if it tastes like a dog shit coffee, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, if you take it and just butcher it in the roaster, or even the barista just completely dog fucks the espresso recipe, you kind of, it's how many different products can you kind of look at? And this is, again, like just a word of wisdom, and just to be, be aware, not anything, or not fear mongering, anything like that, but like, how many other products is there that you can name that can go through such an extensive like process to grow, and then ferment, and then process and bag and ship and roast and QC and package and then ship, and then you get to like consumer end and you just completely fuck it by going like 2 or 3 seconds longer than you need to, or 5 degrees higher than you need to, or like turn on a dial finer than, like, that's fucked, eh? Could you imagine that? Like, you just busting your balls all year for some cunt to just fucking not dial in. And I apologize if the C word is offensive. That is used as like a placeholder, as comma in the UK, and it's now fucking made its way into my life, and I can't turn it off. I apologize. That was the first C word that I dropped. So
you get the pass though, because the only other person who's been legally allowed to say it was John from Shutaway. He's from Australia, but he plays in a band here.
Yeah, fucking Australians and cunt. It's like, so I said, like, you know what? I can say that like English and Scottish and like Australians, they all kind of use it very similarly. Like, it's a term of endearment.
Yeah.
You know, as Canadians as well, saying fuck, like our use of fuck is never meant to be aggressive. It's just kind of like term of endearment, kind of way to put an emphasis on something, way to like gather your thoughts, like fucking yeah, buddy, the other fucking day. Just, you know, kind of. But anyway, what other product could you fucking go through so much work just for a cunt to ruin it for just the smallest thing?
Yeah.
So we got to baby this product. For far too long, we've kind of just, you know, looked at it as, I need this, give it to me in whatever form, instead of, well, I want this, and we should really enjoy when we do have it. So I guess it's just that comment on, you know, coffee as a fuel source as opposed to a luxury.
Yeah. I mean, it's 100% a commodity product. So
yeah,
that's just,
I'm with you.
Yeah. But I do think that we have a lot more people on the actual appreciation and luxury side than like the put it in my body so I can function.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like, historically, coffee is I got to get shit done.
Yeah.
You know, it's you wouldn't really use, I know there's a lot of people out there that would like get all uppity about comparing coffee and wine too closely, but like wine, for instance, is your, I've done my thing for today. You know, this is my reward. This is my kind of like settle down. I'm having dinner with friends that I haven't seen in a while. Or obviously there's the whole community of people that are just banging bottles of wine because they want to. But generally speaking, wine has had this like luxury attachment. So coffee on the other end is like, okay, it's fucking 7 a.m. I feel like a bag of shit. I got to drink coffee to not feel like as much of a bag of shit, or, oh fuck, I've got so much to do. Pot of coffee in front of me. Let's go. And that stigma attached to it is like, is condemning. And, you know, there is avenues where you can look at coffee, like what you're drinking with Friedhats. Friedhats isn't going to be like everyone's every day if you're not in Amsterdam. Like, that shit's fucking pricey outside of Amsterdam. I mean, even, you know, specialty coffee in general is like, it should be looked at, like the price point about it should be looked at as like, this is like an occasion thing. This is a special thing. This is something that I drink with like, you know, being aware of what I'm drinking, not just trying to bang it back. But yeah, I don't know how that'll ever change, but I think that's the big sticking point, is like when people apply the same appreciation to even like chocolate has that like almost like luxury thing about it, where it's like, this is a reward. This is not, I don't like, need a chocolate bar to get out of bed. Obviously it doesn't have the caffeine and all that, but like that, you know, nobody's like, I need this chocolate or this, you know, luxurious product to get me out of bed. But anyway.
A glass of wine to get out of bed.
Some people do.
We won't judge those people. They have their own issues. They have their own problems.
Wow. And I hope that everyone will work through it in their own time with their support group around them and come out the other side and be better. Be better people at the end of it all.
Just be
not
better.
To say that they're not good people now. Yeah, just be better. Yeah, fuck it. Just be better.
Message for everyone, be better. Before we get more into coffee, more into dark arts. Wolves.
Good old wolves.
Wolves. I was corrected, by the way, about that.
Were you going to say wolves?
I said wolves to somebody and they were like, wolves? And I was like the maple leafs.
Egg, 100%. If you didn't say it, that's what I was going to say. Like, for those that don't know, Toronto's hockey team is the Toronto Maple Leafs. Grammatically incorrect. Yep. Leaves. But no, we go, no. Like, Leafs. And we thought that would be funny because, like, wolves is not correct. But we're not like a global, or we weren't a fucking world famous global brand. We were a silly little fucking Converge knockoff band, and nobody thought it was funny, but we'd already decided that that was our band name. So we're like, oh, this is so clever and it'll be funny. And then nobody ever thought to fucking ever ask about it. So we're just like, well, now we're just left with a grammatically incorrect name. But yeah, Wolves. So Wolves was with Jordan McGovern and Greg McGovern of Gavel, my fucking boys. And Ross Gilmore, who's sadly not playing music at the moment, but one of the fucking smartest guitarists that I've ever come across, and like just the fucking magic he was able to come up with. We all knew each other back in Meadowvale. Ross and Greg and Jordan essentially all grew up together. We all kind of grew up together. My dad and Ross's dad worked together. So like, it was kind of on that wavelength of just like, we all knew what the fuck we were doing. It was so seamless and it was so enjoyable to just write music with those guys. And it was short-lived, I think. Like, obviously I was thoroughly enjoying myself. It ended because I moved to the UK. I moved to Brighton. But you know, happy to see what Jordan and Greg have gone on to both kind of continue to do. I think there's not a shadow of my doubt the quality that those two guys both have, and it's kind of rad to see like Jordan fucking creating a scene. Like, obviously there's always a scene in Hamilton, but like creating a fucking scene out of like a pretty dark period. Like, I don't want to speak too much because I've been away for so long, but like watching from afar, you kind of seen like a lot of the DIY hardcore community just, it kind of fizzled for a bit in like Toronto and Southern Ontario and whatnot. So like post COVID and whatnot, to just see this fucking behemoth like Steel City Hardcore just fucking go for it is so rad. And I'm jealous, and I've got FOMO, and I've got all those things associated with like not being able to contribute to the good times, but nothing but like love and admiration for what those guys are all doing over there. So like, yeah, proud of them like a fucking brother. Love them with all my heart. You know, I've been home a couple times since that's kind of all started. One time when it was kind of like just beginning, and then another time when like they were playing the Kill Room. Gavel was playing the Kill Room like last October, and it was just
that was Shutaway played.
Yeah, it was I think it was like Rust. I don't know too many because it was just like I was like I felt like a tourist. It was kind of weird. Like
that's the one where like 300 people ended up coming in.
Yeah, it was like the Halloween show.
Yeah,
and I was fucking so jealous. Like I was so jealous of Kyle in the best way possible because I had so much fun playing music with those guys, and it was such a I wanted to be Kyle so bad playing that, like just going through my head like, oh yeah, this breakdown, oh this is what I'd do. No, yeah, I'd fucking flex in front of everyone as well. Yeah, Kyle, that's the move.
But it's also it's so he fits it so well because he's like the biggest goober in the world.
He's a big old golden retriever.
I love him so much.
So it's like, so yeah, get on stage and be tough is like, hey, hell yeah, brother. But yeah, just that is that shit. So like, obviously we Wolves was never massive. It was just a good time, and I think it was just a really fun time. In we were in Toronto at the time. And like just I guess Southern Ontario and like what everyone was doing at that time. It was DIY. It was so many cool little spaces. I unfortunately can't remember too many of them, but like
what about Soy
I lived
Bomb?
in what about the Soy Bomb? Soy Bomb was the DIY. No disrespect to anyone else, but like you can't fucking touch that throne. DIY in Toronto was Soy Bomb HQ. Fucking till the end of time. Even now, you could literally go fucking 10 years and not even touch Soy Bomb. Like all due respect to Kill Room. What else do we have? All due respect to like RIP. Fuck.
No, that's it. Everybody's at the door.
The door, yeah. I mean, door's rad because like 30 people is like a fucking wall to wall like
show.
Sweaty little like fuck fest. But Soy Bomb was something fucking special. I remember it was Jordan who was like, yo, I just went to this show down in Toronto, and it was like it was 2011, 2012 was like a Converge after party at the Soy Bomb. I don't think like any of the Converge guys were there or any of that, but like there's a show, couldn't tell you who's playing. He's just like, get this, they play on a half pipe. And I was like, what? It's a big loft in the middle of Toronto. I'm like, what? There's graffiti all over. And I was like, just my little boy brain was just, it just seemed so fucking cool and like too good to be true. And then I ended up going to a show, and it was one of those that like, I wasn't there for the one that Jordan was explaining. So I was like creating and painting this picture in my mind of like what this place was. And then a couple of weeks later, I was fucking gagging for a show. I was like, well, when's the next one? When's the next one? When's the next one? And then as soon as the next one happened, there's not a chance I was missing it. And then, it was Gull, Life in Vacuum, and maybe Shaman. So these are all like, there was a very like Soy Bomb catalog of bands. Very like, and the people that been to Soy Bomb would definitely know what I'm talking about. It was like, there was a distinctive Soy Bomb crowd. They would play everything. Like we've seen like Full of Hell play there, fucking Invincible, which is Alexi from Daughters. Again, I'm of course, like when we need to talk about it, I'm pulling a blank, but like, but there was a very Soy Bomb sound. And yeah, the first show that I went to was Gull, which he was this like, for those that don't know, I feel like he's come and gone now, but he was a guitarist who wore a mask with a microphone in it and would play drums at the same time. And it was like, it was as arts, that was art. That was the epitome of just like, yeah, fuck yourself, I'm art. and it was one of those moments. I'm like, okay, this space is exactly how I imagined it in my mind. And it was like, it's one of those things that brings a man to tears. Like I'm a silly little nostalgic boy. And that night was as perfect as a show could get for me personally, because you're just like, cool, this is, I want this fucking feeling like over and over and over and over and over again. And Life in Vacuum played, which like, man, to see them still doing it is super, super rad. Like they're just hitting their stride now. Well, not now, but I mean, they're really hitting their thing. It was just, I went away from that show being like, "But how the fuck do I become a part of that?" And I was still living at home in Mississauga and Meadowvale, and saw a Facebook post by Jay Wydra, which is like he's the daddy. He's the fucking he is Soy Bomb. Jay Wydra was just like, need a roommate. And I think it was for like a month later, I'm like, I'll fucking kill someone if I don't get that room. And they're like, we need a roommate. And I was like, on it. I'm like, what do we need to do? And he's like, well, you got to come and hang out with the roommates, and like, they got to kind of suss you out and make sure there's someone that they want to live with. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. I felt like I was going into like a job interview. Like, I'd prepped more for that than I had like anything else. Like, I got to know about art. I got to know about fucking just being a crust punk. I got to know about fucking like all of this. I'm not saying I was like a fake shit, but I was just like, I feel like I need to prepare for this. And we ended up like sitting around a kitchen table eating fucking no-name chips and whatnot. And yeah, got in and lived in the Soy Bomb for 2 years. And it was like, that 2 years was the 2 years of like pretty much all of like Wolf's activity. So, you know, I look back at it fondly. Like, we were, at that time, I was like, I used to work as a chef, and I took it pretty seriously. You know, I was like, I need to get to a level as a chef that, like, you know, just keep going. And then when I moved there and I did that, I kind of told myself I'd take a little bit of the foot off the gas and like enjoy music. So get a job where I can like take a weekend off and go to Windsor and play some fucking shows or whatnot. And so it was just Soy Bomb. That 2 years, that period was just like writing music with the boys. Just coming home to like 300 smelly bastards in the house, fucking cracking skulls, and just like, the wife hated it at the time. Obviously, she was my girlfriend, but she fucking hated it. Like, any place that you have to wear shoes inside just to go for a piss or anything like that is a red flag.
Yeah.
But what a place, what a time. Like, I'm so happy. I'm so lucky to have been part of like what will go down as just like a legendary part of like Toronto hardcore, Toronto DIY, Toronto music scene. Yeah, it was a wild place, man.
Anybody who's been around long enough that you meet, like, because I've only been in Canada for 5 years, and I've been kind of back in hardcore, like getting in the scene here is a bit difficult because there's like a language barrier. There's just the whole idea of like, where the fuck do you find shows?
You're telling me it's not the language of rock? Oh, you don't speak the language of rock, bruh?
I speak the language of rock, bruh.
For those that can't see, I'm throwing up the horns right now.
Yeah. With the cap off kilter, because you know he's chill.
I love you. The middle-aged crisis fucking thumb out, like, rock and roll, man.
That's my favorite, middle-aged moms. Rock on.
Tongue out. Double-handed. Yeah.
I love Daughtry.
Yeah. AC, DC.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry, Rock just totally derailed your whole story.
100% because my ADD is going haywire now. But I've been back in, and then, you know, getting to play shows in Ontario, meeting all of these awesome people that like, you can't step over, like, you can't talk to like one person who's been in hardcore for, you know, 5 years or more without them bringing up, oh, like, I remember that Soy Bomb. Literally every single, even people from Montreal, they're like, Soy Bomb was dope. And it's like, well, it sucks that I'll never get to go.
It was pretty shitty how it all just kind of came down. And it felt like a North American sweep. Like, everyone kind of draws the whole like, oh yeah, so fucking, there was the fire in, was it the Ghost Ship in Oklahoma, the punk out DIY spot in the States. And obviously, like, the DIY spaces, man, these things are like held together by cardboard at times. So that kind of prompted this whole like almost blitz of like, okay, cool, we need to shut these places down. And everyone was kind of saying, like, the super left side of the community was just like, no, this is like fucking Trump driven craziness to like shut down safe spaces, which they all were. They were all like places to just come and just be you. And like, you know, Soy Bomb wasn't just about shows. It was like, there was community based things. There was like we did like a community based kitchen a few nights a week. Like when kind of protests and stuff were happening around the city, it was like a safe space. It was like a pre-meetup at times and stuff like that. And like, it was, you know, it was a hub for more than just kind of like music. And so when that happened, there was just a complete wipe across like North America, and they were just shutting down DIY spaces left, right, and center, and not for any good reason. Like, all these places were run on nothing money. So when they come in and they go, oh yeah, this isn't up to code, this isn't up to code, people are just like, well, I can't afford to do anything about that, so RIP. Whereas Soy Bomb being kind of like the you know, the big one, at least in Toronto, Jay Wydra was a builder. This guy built Soy Bomb. He built all the walls, everything himself. So when they came through and kind of started flashing their lists of like what wasn't up to code, he just fixed fucking everything. And he'd do it in like a week. And he's like, buddy, try me. Like, what's wrong with this? Done. Fixed it. What's wrong with that? Fuck you. Done. Like, and then they just kept on coming back with shit, kept on coming back with shit, kept on coming back with shit, to the point it was exhausting. Mm-hmm. Like, this guy, you know, Jay had a fucking full-time life, and they were just like exhausting it. And unfortunately, people still live there. Like, it is still, I don't know anyone who lives in the Soy Bomb anymore, but people do still live there. And unfortunately, it's just where people live. You know, it's not the hub that it was for everything creative. And, you know, nothing lasts forever, but the tail end of that whole sweep, like, fucking, it really stifled, or it slowed down the community. Like, everything kind of goes through peaks and valleys. You know, and we're now seeing the resurgence. You'd imagine a lot of those people that were in Toronto have now moved to Hamilton and places like this, and they're kind of resurrecting these things. Unfortunately, like I said, I've been away for too long, so I can't speak too much more than just knowing what you know, Steel City's doing. I don't know what's happening in Toronto because I just don't know who's doing it anymore.
Homie shit.
Yeah, but yeah. So Soy Bomb was a good time. Kind of set some real values in you, and it was just, you know, you close your eyes and look back at it, and it was just a fucking good time. Like, it was just good music. It was kind of, lucky enough to contribute to it. We recorded our second album in the Soy Bomb, which there's only like maybe one other band after us that recorded. So get a little kind of like trophy on the shelf for that. But yeah, Soy Bomb, long live it.
Yeah.
Always in our memories. Did you go to Outbreak?
I did.
Segue.
We talked.
How'd you like it? I know we did, but also I don't know that we did, because I was so tired and so like, that was stressful in a good way, in a very rewarding way. But yeah, tell me, how was your experience? How did you enjoy it?
Too big. Why were the porta potties inside?
Oh yeah. Oh, you're telling me that wasn't your favorite part?
Why was the food outside and the porta potties inside? I don't understand the logic. It was like the first century AD coming back to play.
Question, Grayson. Where's your bathroom at your house? Is it outside or inside?
I mean, I'm not going and shitting in a porta potty in my house. I have indoor plumbing.
I don't know, man.
Is that something that England doesn't have, is indoor plumbing still?
Well, we're working on it. We do.
I just kept going to Star and Garter and using their toilet.
Everyone did. Yeah, not everyone. Like, we had the luxury as the coffee folk, the festival, to be there earlier than everyone else to witness the
cleaning.
for lack of a better term, the shit truck, roll into the venue and pump fucking doo-doo caca and pee-pee at like 9 a.m. from all the porta potties. And it didn't always cleanly make it onto the truck. I'll be lying if I said sometimes it wasn't on the ground, but you just had to briskly walk past and go set up the coffee station to serve all the lovely patrons. I think, look, talking to the guys from Outbreak as well, like on that note, they were receptive to a lot of stuff like on each day. Like they were always very clear to put the poll out there being like, yo, what would you change? And if we can change this by tomorrow, you best believe we will.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine like that was the first time they were in that Depot Mayfield. And there, like, naturally, there's going to be some growing pains. Like, I know people were saying some stuff about the merch village, but like,
it was better than last year.
That?
It was better than last year. Last year's merch village was fucked.
Yeah, and I think like, I know they're at Depot Mayfield again next year. We've already agreed Dark Arts is going to be there again next year because like, as stressful as it was, that was our first like festival. So. Figuring out how to manage an expected 8,000 to 10,000 attendees and then however many staff and bands and that, like that's a how long is a piece of string type like thing. You're just like, I don't know, do I order a literal pallet of oat milk? And I think that was our thank you for being like a vegan vegetarian festival. I'm not vegan, but like the fact that we just said, we're just oat milk. Like we don't need to worry about a fridge for regular milk and stuff like that. Like that was one little ounce of stress taken off. But like we had 2 sites set up. Shout out to Lumberzoko for lending us the machines. That was huge. But
how'd
then
you plumb because it was a 2-group head Linnea, right?
Yeah. So we had a Linnea Classic. And we had a Linnea PB. Hope Outbreak is listening for this one. We requested water to both booths. Like just, you can get a hose and then from that hose, you run it through a filter. Through that filter, you run to the pump, the pump to the machine. We didn't have the luxury of water at both. So we had to run out of jerry cans and a little like auxiliary pump system, which it gets the job done, but you're like, the last thing you want to do when you have like a lineup of people in between bands, because we would just get dog fucked in between sets. And it was just like, it was kind of nice. You could like gather your thoughts, get everything ready. But like, if you ran out of water with like a massive lineup of people, the last thing you want to do is like have to walk like a dickhead to go and fucking fill up your water and then come back. And then, cause you have to stop everything. You don't want to like pull any shots, because it won't pull water. Right. It can blow at the pump. Like you get like air bubbles, stuff like that. Like you want to just have constant water. It's just not something you want to worry about when you're doing like 900 coffees a day. And it was just madness. Like it was so stressful, but like I said, in a really, really good way. I think like everyone was super receptive. Everyone was super patient and welcoming and like just stoked that we were there. I think like it's not always a luxury to have, we're not tooting our horn here, but like good coffee at a festival, like a setup worthy of a cafe. Like we brought all the fucking toys. Like we bought the puck presses. We brought like the grind by weight, Malkonig GBW fucking Big Daddy grinders.
Yep.
And then we just did iced white coffees and iced black coffees in the hundreds. And it was just like, put your head down, joke around with everyone, but just like, don't stop moving your hands. It was madness.
Clear something up for me.
Go on.
I almost got in a very heated argument with somebody because they're like, oh, I had the cold brew from Dark Arts. And I was like, boss, that was a iced Americano.
Wow, it was iced Americano.
And they were like, no, it was cold brew. I'm like, buddy, I'm telling you, I know an iced Americano when I drink one. Yeah.
Yeah, those are 2 different drinks, man. To the folks at home. Americano.
Like, it was
100%. Oh yeah. Yeah. We thought about, actually, I fucked that. I was supposed to come up with a bunch of cold brew concentrate to dilute on the day and blah, 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 blah. But I just completely missed the mark on that. But yeah, we were just pulling shots into ice water. There you have it.
Thank you.
And that was it. Like we would do that as well. Like when we knew a rush was coming, we would just keep pulling shots, and we'd have like 10 cups lined up, 20 cups lined up, all with shots in it, so that we knew what people were going to have. It was literally like 80%, because it was fucking hot.
That's hot.
It was 80% like iced coffees. So we just have all these shots, because it doesn't matter if your espresso cools down, because it's going to be cooled down anyways. So like we would just prepare for war and just pre-shot a bunch of these out, and then just tip them in and just hand them to people. So like we had a good system where people weren't waiting more than like 4 or 5 minutes for a coffee. So like quicker service than like a cafe, and people were just like, bro, what the fuck? That was quick and it tasted good. It's just like, man, we got the right people doing this. Like we came up with just like fuckloads of oat milk and coffee. I think we came up with like maybe 60 kilos of coffee, just to be on the safe side. 60 kilos of coffee, a full pallet of oat milk. And that's, here we go. Let's do this. A pallet of oat milk is 72 6-packs. So we come up with like 432 individual liters, like cartons of oat milk. And I think I didn't take any oat milk back to London with me. We didn't use it all. I'll say that, but we went through
it's a lot of
fucking
oats.
pallet of oat milk. Body. It was fucked. And it was like everyone was super stoked that we sold a bunch of merch. Like we went out with merch, and I remember being kind of nervous about that. It's like, well, this is gonna be a show where, or this is gonna be a festival where like 10 of your favorite bands are playing like on day one. I was really worried, like, are people really gonna want to come to just like a London coffee company and buy merch? And like, we were fucking selling merch. We were selling hats and tote bags and all that, and people were like super stoked to fucking, you know, buy merch and help support us. And like, just people had some very, very kind things to say. So I think it was like, you know, in retrospect, it fit like a glove. Like,
yeah,
yes. Outbreak, yes, we will do that. We love that. It was such a good time. Unfortunately, I had no time to see any bands. Yeah. I think the first night we kind of wrapped it up, and Spy was playing on the second stage, and like I really wanted to see Spy, and it was it was on the Friday. Went to go see Spy. Obviously had a shit spot right at the back, and I was just like so fucking mushed out and zoned out, and like I couldn't comprehend. I was like, I gotta go to the hotel. I gotta go to bed, man. I'm gonna like, I don't know. I just wanted to see Spy, but like just could not comprehend sound at that point.
Yeah. In the tunnel, the fucking tunnel room.
Yeah. It was, like I said, I think next year I'm curious how they kind of work through some of the kinks, because of course there's going to be some kinks. I think lineup wise, what'd you make of the inclusion of like fucking Denzel Curry and things like that?
I think some of it made sense, and some of it was like not for a lot of us. And I say us because I was hanging out with like a bunch of my friends from Scotland. Mm-hmm. And they were like, we fucked off during a lot of it.
I think they did, the way they did it, where they kind of said, yeah, this is the new day. This is like but instead of like kind of like interlacing it with everything else, like it allowed people to kind of schedule it and be like, no, you know what? I can't, like, I don't fuck with that. I don't really want to. Me personally, like I don't, not ever really been my vibe, but those are the biggest days. Okay? Mm-hmm. Like the Denzel Curry Sunday was the biggest day.
Death Grips brought a shit ton of people.
Yeah. Like I get it. Cause you'd think a lot of folks that listen to hardcore and stuff like that, like they're not just listening to hardcore 2-4 7 days a week. They're listening to like, so it made a lot of sense. And I think like a lot of these like Lil Ugly Mane and like Earl Sweatshirt, like all these guys are into,
I love Earl Sweatshirt
to some degree, that kind of stuff. Like I tell you what, though, it's kind of like Earl Sweatshirt. It's fucking. I saw a bit of his set and it was boring.
I left. I couldn't even stand. Like I was so tired by the time it was getting towards the sets. Like Nancy and my wife and I just fucking were like, let's go have dinner.
Yeah. It was like it's cool, I think, but like but Earl's was like, okay, like you really got to be into like the music and just like hearing the song, because like it definitely didn't bring a lot to the live show. Whereas like even like a I'm not saying there was, but like a shit hardcore band is still gonna bring a fucking like a spectacle.
You didn't see Code Orange's set?
No. What a that's a funny, like, from Code Orange kids to Code Orange. Like, I feel like we've lived 10 different lives. they've just become, it's not my vibe.
They're a monster now. I mean, I will say it was one of the most impressive sets of the weekend.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, of course they're going to bring a live show, but like, I don't know, man. They just, what do they want to be? Like, I don't, look, I'll always have, well, they're having a fucking, I saw like the new video that they came out. Someone was saying they're having their turnstile phase with the colors and all that they're going through. Like, it sounds like Linkin Park. It sounds like whatever, but it's just, I think it's just like I have a soft spot for Code Orange kids.
Yeah.
Because I think like back when that whole Soy Bomb phase and like Wolf's, like that, like Death Wish era of bands where you're just like, that's it. Yeah. That's the fucking vibe. Like, you know, they were fucking something else. And to like come through at like 18 or whatever they were and being like, yeah, we're hot shit. Because they fucking were. And like, just so fucking raw and just like absolute power. There wasn't like, I don't think there was one person that didn't look at Code Orange kids and was just like, fuck, we just got showed up. Like, that's the future right in front of us.
Yep.
And then I don't know where it went personally. I think like a lot of people, I feel like, you know, it just kind of turned into something a little bit goofy for me. Didn't feel natural like Code Orange kids did, but you know, I know people enjoy them. I know people dig it. So like, if people dig it, then fucking enjoy it. Yeah, go for it.
Well, Blair, thank you so much for hanging out. I feel like we talked about so much and yet nothing at all. So this has been such a great conversation.
That's a conversation with me, man. A lot of talking and not a lot said.
There it is.
All right, buddy.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I know that this time difference is a bit wacky, and drinking coffee in the afternoon.
I'm gonna drink it anyways. Might as well be on a little podcast.
But I wish you all well. Wish the Dark Arts crew well.
Likewise, brother.
And I'll keep the Ontario boys in line. I promise.
Give them a hug. Let the boys know that I love them, and that's all I need in life. Let the boys know that I love them and I miss them.
Yeah, they represent too. So.
Oh yeah, they're making me proud. They're doing their fucking work. They're making me proud.
What's your favorite city for beans and breakdowns? That's the last question.
Favorite city.
Yeah.
Favorite city. Oh, dang. It's the most uncreative thing, but Tokyo. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter where you go. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be the best thing that you ever fucking had. It's going to be the best experience. Coffee there is just otherworldly. Food is cheap, accessible, as expensive as you want it to be, as delicious as you want it to be. And both of us come from North America. We can respect the sentiment of walking into a 7-Eleven and getting quality food.
Hell yeah.
So, Tokyo. So uncreative, but fuck it. Tokyo's the best city in the world.
I'm trying to get there next year. It's on my list.
Bro, give me a shout before you go, because I will overwhelm you with stuff to do.
I will need it.
And I will give it.
I appreciate it. Blair, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hope to talk soon.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beans and Breakdowns. I want to say a huge thanks to Blair for coming on the podcast. It was really great talking to him about his Canadian roots and about all the things going on at Dark Arts. Be sure to check out their website. The link is in the description of this episode. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. You can find out more information about the podcast by following us on Instagram at Beans and Breakdowns or on the web at beansandbreakdowns.com. Until next week, be sure to stay caffeinated and wake the fuck up.